The Middle East stands at a crossroads, bracing for potential escalation as a deadline imposed by former U.S. President Donald Trump draws near. Trump issued a stark ultimatum to Hamas, demanding the release of all Israeli hostages by Saturday noon. Failure to comply, he warned, would unleash dire consequences. Israel, standing firmly behind Trump's ultimatum, has signaled its readiness to take decisive action if Hamas does not meet the deadline. The situation is fraught with tension. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution while fearing the potential for renewed violence. The stakes are incredibly high, with the lives of innocent civilians hanging in the balance. The Israeli cabinet has thrown its full weight behind Trump's demand, echoing his sense of urgency. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in a televised address, stressed that time is of the essence. Hamas must understand that time is running out, he declared. The world is watching. His words, delivered with a measured tone, underscored the gravity of the situation. The international community, deeply concerned by the escalating tensions, has called for restraint from all parties involved. Diplomatic efforts are underway to find a peaceful solution and prevent further bloodshed. The coming days will be critical in determining the fate of the hostages and the trajectory of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel, its citizens on edge, has taken concrete steps to prepare for the possibility of a military response should Hamas fail to meet the deadline. The Israel Defense Forces have been placed on high alert, with leaves cancelled and troops instructed to remain in position. A planned event near the Gaza border, intended to be a display of unity and resilience, has been postponed indefinitely. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, speaking from Tel Aviv, delivered a stern warning to Hamas. "We are prepared for any eventuality," he stated. "If Hamas chooses the path of defiance, we will respond with decisive action." His words, measured yet resolute, underscored Israel's unwavering commitment to the safety of its citizens held captive. The mood in Israel is a mixture of anxiety and determination. Families of the hostages, their anguish palpable, have staged protests, demanding the government secure their loved ones' release. The memory of past conflicts, with their heavy toll on human life, weighs heavily on the minds of many. Despite the heightened tensions, there are glimmers of hope. Negotiations mediated by Egypt and Qatar are ongoing, although progress has been slow. The international community, recognizing the urgency of the situation, continues to urge both sides to exercise restraint and pursue a peaceful resolution. Former President Trump, known for his blunt and often inflammatory rhetoric, did not mince words in his message to Hamas. "All hell is going to break out," he warned. "If the hostages are not released by the deadline, all bets are off. Let hell break out." His words, delivered with his trademark bluster, sent shockwaves through the region. Trump, despite no longer being in office, retains significant influence, and his words carry weight, particularly among his base of supporters. His intervention in the crisis has added another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. While Trump refrained from outlining specific measures, he hinted at the possibility of a coordinated response involving the United States and its allies. "We will not stand idly by," he declared. "The world is watching, and Hamas will be held accountable." Trump's decision to wade into the crisis has drawn mixed reactions. Some have praised his strong stance against terrorism, while others have criticized his rhetoric, arguing that it could inflame tensions and undermine diplomatic efforts. Section 4. Hamas's defiance, the hostage situation, and a fragile ceasefire. Hamas, the militant group that controls the Gaza Strip, has so far remained defiant in the face of Trump's ultimatum. While not officially rejecting the demand, Hamas officials have indicated that negotiations for the release of the hostages are ongoing and that Trump's threats are unhelpful. "Trump's words have no value," stated Sami Abu Zuhri, a senior Hamas official. "They only serve to complicate an already delicate situation." His statement, carried by Hamas-affiliated media, reflected the group's skepticism towards Trump's pronouncements. Adding to the uncertainty, Hamas announced a delay in the next scheduled hostage release. The group cited alleged Israeli violations of the ceasefire agreement as the reason for the postponement, claiming that Israel has obstructed the return of displaced Palestinians to northern Gaza and hindered the delivery of humanitarian aid. The ceasefire agreement, painstakingly negotiated after 15 months of intense fighting, hangs in the balance. The agreement, which came into effect on January 19, 2025, outlines a three-stage process that includes the release of all hostages, the liberation of Palestinian security prisoners held by Israel, and a cessation of hostilities in the Gaza Strip. Section 5. The World Watches, International Reactions and Diplomatic Efforts. As the deadline looms, the international community watches with a mixture of apprehension and hope. The United Nations and the European Union have issued urgent calls for restraint, urging both sides to prioritize diplomacy and avoid actions that could lead to further bloodshed. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, in a statement released to the press, underscored the need for adherence to the ceasefire agreement. "I urge all parties to abide by the terms of the ceasefire and to return to the negotiating table," he stated. "The situation is extremely fragile, and any escalation could have disastrous consequences for both Israelis and Palestinians." The Biden administration, while not officially endorsing Trump's ultimatum, has reaffirmed its unwavering support for Israel's right to defend itself and secure the release of its citizens. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, speaking at a press conference, emphasized the United States' commitment to a peaceful resolution. "The safe return of all hostages is non-negotiable," he stated. "We stand with Israel in this endeavor and call on all parties to exercise restraint and seek a diplomatic solution. The coming hours will be critical. The world holds its breath, hoping that cooler heads will prevail and that a tragedy can be averted. The path forward is fraught with uncertainty, but the imperative for peace has never been greater."